Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty wants his state's attorney general to sue the federal government. So far, that hasn't happened, though. What's going on? Well, let's ask. Governor Pawlenty joins us live here in Washington. Governor, Florida's on board, Virginia's on board, 12 other states are on board suing the federal government. What's the holdup if you want to sue?
Well, my attorney general in Minnesota, the only person who can bring a suit on behalf of the state is the attorney general. She's thinking about it, hasn't decided yet, but we're certainly asking her to do it.
Democrat or Republican?
She's a Democrat.
So you can't just boss her around as governor. You can't say no?
I could, but she wouldn't listen. No, it's independently elected office. But I think the legal merits here, when you have up to 15 other states and attorney general saying there's merit for this is something that can and should be done. She did say today she's going to at least consider it, so she didn't say no out of the gate. I'm hopeful that she'll say yes.
Do you like the health care bill?
No.
Why?
Well, Greta, it is a reflection of a Democrat 30-year obsession with trying to make government services look like General Motors from the 1970s when the world is now Apple and an iPhone. And so our view of the world is not big centralized bureaucracies, one size fits all, price controls, tax increases. We want to put consumers in charge and make it look more like an iPhone. That's really a metaphor for their vision versus ours.
Can you afford it? I mean, does the health care bill create financial problems in Minnesota?
Well, the health care bill is misguided, and it's going to create problems because if we implemented just one part of it, for example, the extension of Medicaid to single adults without children, it's going to cost my state $600 or $700 million just in the next 2 years.
What are you doing with these people otherwise? I mean, when someone shows up at the ER and is seriously ill and ends up in the ICU, what do you do with these people? No insurance.
They get treated, of course, but the question is who pays for it?
And who does pay for that?
Well, in Minnesota, we have other programs, state-based programs that take care of some of that need, a lot of that need, but some of it just gets eaten by the hospitals.
So I'm unclear, like, where, if you'd have to pay for it anyway, does it make a difference how you pay for it? I mean, whether it comes out, explain this to me.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference because, again, if you want to give people assistance who are in need or disadvantaged who can't afford health care, that's a worthy goal, but we should do that by empowering individuals, not by having the government take the system over. So in Minnesota and other states, we say, look, we'll give you some assistance, but you're going to be in the private market. We're going to choose from private plans. We're not going to have the federal government micromanaging the program.
Governor, people from Wisconsin and Minnesota, when they vacation, they go south. I hear you're going to New Hampshire. So that must not be a vacation. What a coincidence! You're going tomorrow. Now, why are you going to New Hampshire? You're not going on vacation.
I'm speaking to the Manchester Republicans tomorrow night. It's going to be fun.
And so everyone wants to know. So what's the story? This is your second trip to New Hampshire?
It is.
I got tipped off by someone from your newspaper back home. Second trip. What's the story in you running?
The story is I got to finish my term as governor. I'm trying to help out for 2010. Beyond that, we'll see, Greta.
What would push you in that direction? What interests you?
What interests me is trying to serve my country. I think we have a country that's in grave trouble. We need to have certain people step forward and say, look, there are values and principles that made this country great. They're currently being diluted. They're currently being corroded. And we got to get back to a direction that this country was built on: individual responsibility, markets, entrepreneurial incentives, people growing private sector jobs, not having everything come on the business, or excuse me, on the government side of it. And what we need to do is have people come forward and say, look, this country is in trouble, and we need to lead, and we need to have people do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I've been doing it as governor. We'll see if I take it to the next step. You
know, one of the biggest problems here right now among many is bipartisanship, lack thereof. Is there any way, do you have any sort of special powers or ideas of how to fix that?
Special powers.
Special powers. I mean, anything at all. I mean, because it really is everything's a logjam here.
Yeah, well, obviously the country's divided, and we need people who are going to debate on the issues. If the Democrats would have just set aside the things that they can't agree on, there was 10, 15 good ideas that we could have agreed on, Greta, no question about it. We could have moved forward with health care reform. It needs it, but it would have been done in a way that would not have violated basic principles about the role of limited government in this society.
20 seconds left. How important is it that Brett Favre comes back and plays for the Vikings?
It's absolutely critical, Greta. It's absolutely critical. We need Brett Favre.
And you're going to order him as governor, right?
I told you off air, but if he goes into the Hall of Fame wearing purple, you're never going to get over it.
All right, well, I think you ought to order him to come back and play it, because I think the fans would love it.
I'll do it. Executive order.
Executive order. We know about those today.
Right.
Thank you, Governor.
Okay, thanks.